Time is now 7 o'clock. I'm going to call to order the December 5th meeting of the Tilton Budget Committee. We'll begin this meeting with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now our next order of business, the meeting minutes from last week. You have a copy?
I got a question on page 2. Fourth paragraph from the bottom, where Mr. Lawrence was talking, and we wanted to know where funding was from. They said Belmont, Meredith, and Tilton, and then it says, and 3 additional towns. I thought it was only those 3 towns.
I thought it was only those 3 towns also.
Are you on page 2, Bill?
Page 2.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, who are you talking about here?
I think they said that they had already requested from Belmont, Meredith, and Tilton, and were planning on requesting from 3 additional towns, which they didn't name, was my understanding.
Right, I think I recall that too, that I asked them why there are only 3 towns, because we were asking other towns, but we just started doing this.
Right.
So it's too little, too late.
Well, they have a whole list of all the towns,
Yeah.
but they don't, only
Well, if
have
they're
3
starting-
of them that actually have asked appropriations for it.
Yeah, Belmont, Laconia, and Multiple on this list.
Yeah, they had Meredith.
But Meredith, Belmont, Meredith, and Tilton are the only 3 that they asked.
Right.
Okay, so you think it should stay like it did, that they were gonna,
Yes, the 3 mystery towns.
Right, they said they were just in the process
Yeah.
of asking other towns, so.
Which means they're too late for a lot of them.
Right,
most likely.
right.
okay.
Yeah.
I also thought, the very last paragraph on the page, that there were, I thought it was that they received over 200 calls from Tilton residents. They did,
Oh,
they did,
Instead of 2.
from instead of 2. All right, is there anything else?
I move we accept this.
Have a motion, is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I spoke with Heather Thibodeau, and she is willing to come and talk with us. I told her that we had new people who didn't understand how the various organizations were used by the welfare departments, and she said she would be very happy to come. So she, yeah,
We'll have a joint meeting with the selection.
if you would like to come, you're more than welcome to come, Danny.
Well, we're doing this, so she will
Oh.
have to come to the board.
Oh, okay, I didn't know, that. Okay, well,
And if it
it's-
is, because it is a non-public,
yeah, okay.
the selectmen are allowed to attend.
Oh, yeah, that'll be
We'll tell
fine.
All the
That'll be
selectmen, who's
fine
a
for
chance to
future.
hear from Heather, and suggest that we won't have her come to the, they're having her come twice.
Yeah. Joanna, would you please call and see when she's available?
Yep.
Because she said she had some heavy responsibilities at various times. So I said I would have to call to make arrangements to set up a date for us.
Sure.
I did. All right, and our first guest is here. Jen, are you gonna be with us, or are you gonna have other people?
I had other people who were coming. We're scheduled at 7:30, right?
Right, yeah, you're
Yeah.
second on the list, really.
Yeah, so if I can
Okay.
leave,
Okay.
I'd rather go first.
You were here and visiting nurses wasn't, so that's why.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm always a little bit early.
Good.
I'd rather be early than
Okay.
late, so then I end up
All
super
right.
early.
So we'll wait a few more minutes then.
Okay.
The other time, I talked with Allison Hartwell,
Okay.
and she never received a letter telling her when they were supposed to appear. I don't know where it was sent.
Okay,
Did they change their address, or?
Well,
No.
they don't have the address here, they live in Florida.
right.
Right, no, I know.
She receives all the sewer bills, and I sent it to the same address, so okay, I can set up another time with her, but
Okay.
Should have been there, right?
every year people come in and they say, oh, I never got notified. I've been doing this for 16 years, I send the letters every year. Take it for what you will.
Well, she sent in her forms and everything, so that's why
Believe what you want.
I will. So you'll send her another one?
Do you want to set up a time with her to come in?
Well, I was going, at the end of the meeting, I was going to address both that and Old Home Day.
Whatever you guys want, I'll do.
Okay.
You let me know. We could also think about starting to send these things out certified, because we
That
run
might
into
be
this
a very
every
good
year,
idea.
so it might be something to think about in the future.
That's a good idea.
Who's the first one coming, visiting nurse? Say they gave us, right?
Why does this say at the Hall Memorial Library, it still has Mary Oliver?
Hmm?
Oh, it's been 6 years.
Under the sheet, yeah, the top sheet that you give us for,
That would be my mistake.
it just says Mary Oliver for the Hall Memorial.
This one says Jennifer Davis.
No card, no one.
paperwork, I can give you, I have new paperwork if you'd rather see it. While you're waiting.
This looks pretty good to me, I've been over it,
Okay.
pretty clear.
Very clear.
My backup's here if you do want us to go early. This is Kathy Mitchell.
No, really? Hi.
Jen, when you paid that money for Rotary, you put a little check in for $11. That was actually, I combined both bills, that was just the library bill. You paid that for Rotary, so what happened was, I think I lost that, I just I was gonna return it to you, and I'm not sure what I did with it.
Okay.
But just can't void that check out for 11, because you had already, the library had already paid your bill.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let Jen Hoyt is our new,
Oh, okay.
same name, but it's just more confusing.
Yeah.
I'll tell her right now so I don't forget too.
Right.
Um,
It's like $11 and something.
Who's your backup? Oh. Kathy. Whoa.
I brought in the big guns.
Big guy, I guess. Uh-oh. When I was in the meeting downstairs, two women came in and sat in the back of the fire budget committee meeting. I wonder, those.
They thought that was the budget committee?
Well, it is,
What?
fire district budget.
Right, but they might have thought it was.
Want me to go down and ask?
Well, there's two women down there.
Right, I saw them.
Yeah.
Want me to ask
Yeah,
them?
go ahead. Please, thank you. I need exercise, I've got my Fitbit, my phone. Well, they may not be, right?
No, yeah, yeah.
What? You sat down this, it's fine. I mean, that's where I was.
I've done that, that's tiring.
Well, tonight, really was. Catherine, you know who's on that committee now, don't you? She'll tell you.
Is on the budget for your district?
I like Kevin.
I do too, I do too.
May not always agree, but he is a wealth of knowledge, and what I love is he always has his answer to the questions he's asking you.
Yeah,
He's
he
always
does.
very polite if he's wrong too, he totally admits it.
Yep.
I think he's a little spice.
For the selectmen. That's what's on
He's
tomorrow,
what,
or it's
tomorrow?
fucking
Yeah,
meeting.
but.
That's down at the old bank.
Oh, okay. I saw
It's
that.
real deal.
I
Open house.
love your hands.
Thanks.
I share them all.
You get a ton of shares, that's great. I love that. Must be so much fun.
I can't use their.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I found them.
Yay.
Sorry, we're sitting in the wrong meeting.
No, I saw you, I was in that meeting and I saw you come in.
Oh, yeah, that's why I thought we were in the right place, and then you got up and left, I'm like, oh.
We came in and we were on time.
Misplaced. Was it more beneficial downstairs or?
It was very interesting.
Did they give you any money?
No.
What, you didn't stand up and ask for it? You should have. It was like their loan.
It wasn't my place.
Sorry about that. I just have to think, maybe that's where you would, because I know you're always on time.
Oh, yeah, we try to come early, yeah.
I know. So,
So Tabitha Dowd is our new executive director, brandy new. So,
Hi, everyone.
and you all know Barbara. She's just retiring, she's still with us for a little bit, but she's retiring at the end of the year.
Oh,
Yeah, we love her. But you know what, she's earned it.
yeah,
She gets to retire.
yeah.
And Colleen Conway, I was here last year, I'm
Yeah.
business manager.
All right, why don't you come on up and join us up here? And we have some new faces, so we'll go around and introduce ourselves. Usually we have John Scanlon, I think you know him from last year, and he's absent today, so Peter, if you want to introduce yourself, he's
Peter Fogg, I'm alternate ex officio, tonight ex officio.
Do they pay you by the title or by the word in your title?
Well, it's all the same, but yeah, it's a
Same
salary
base salary.
position, so they just spread it around.
Get a half a penny instead of nothing.
Bill Lawrence.
Nice to meet you.
in Jane Alden.
Christine Nevitsky.
Theodore Darnell.
So, welcome.
So last year, we basically came in and we presented ourselves to you. I kind of thought I would give Barbara, sorry.
That's okay.
She has to sort of talk about, you know, what we're asking for, why we're asking for it. As you know, we've been in the area for 75 years. Every year you guys have been able to help us out in some way. So we just kind of want to tell you what that means as part of the whole for our services. Did you have to?
So this is my first budget meeting, so bear with me. I'm not really sure what you guys are looking for, so I'll kind of tell you a little bit about the services. If you at home know or hospice services or any of your loved ones have had it, then we got an idea of what we do. Our goal is to make sure that we are out in the community providing education and resources to maintain people's health and wellness and independence at home. We run a foot clinic as well as a vaccine clinic in the Franklin office. We provide personal services for ADL, some activities of daily living, as well as skilled services, both nursing and therapy. We also offer some social worker services as well. Part of the services that we've provided for the town of Tilton are about 14% of our overall business. And we're here today to ask that you contribute 0.4% of the 2% of the municipality contributions in order for us to continue to provide services at the same level that we were able to do last year.
Well, I see you get a grant from Merrimack County, but nobody has done that. I'm just curious.
We don't, we haven't applied for anything from Belmont. The Merrimack County grant is specifically for services that we provide for the Title 20 grant and the 3B grant, which are specific home care, aids, and homemaker services. So that money is deferred just to that, and none of those numbers, I don't believe those numbers are the numbers we just, no, I didn't.
The Title 20 grant is really to cover people who get in that gap year.
I don't understand that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, when you're in that year that you're trying to transition to get onto Medicare, there's where you can be upside down in your insurance.
Okay.
So
yeah.
this Title 20, for those who are in that situation where they're looking to spend down in order to be, meet the criteria, the overall financial criteria that they're looking for. When they can't meet that, this grant actually bridges that gap so that way they don't have disruption in services.
Allows us to provide the continuity of care.
But that extends to both counties?
It actually is just Merrimack County that's being paid for. We do provide those services through our agency, but it's, obviously they're taking a big chunk of the cost for us by providing those subsidies to us to be able to provide the services for the entire region,
Okay.
but theirs only pays for those that are within Merrimack County.
And that subsidy that we provide for Merrimack County allows us to do a little more charitable care.
I mean, have you thought of asking Belknap County, since you have a bunch of towns from Belknap County, Belknap County?
And we do go to the specific each of the specific towns.
Right.
We have not even, I don't think, since I've been here, I've been with the company for almost 2 years, we have not looked at Belknap County. Where Tabitha's new and just getting her feet wet, we're starting to look at everything, so
And
she's willing to look at every form of funding.
I will be looking at reviewing, assessing, and asking to make sure that we have all of the funds in order to provide the services that are in this community. I don't live in this community, I just started here a couple months ago, but one of the things that I've noticed in coming here is that there is great need for services in this community. So if we can work together to be able to ensure that people get those services, that they can maintain their independence in their home. I know when I get to be of advanced life skills and needs a little bit of help, I want to be able to get that help at home.
Sure, no,
I don't want to be institutionalized. So
Being adult and very
if we're able to
integral
do
part.
that, I want to be able to do that. So if that means going to Belknap
Well, I
County,
just-
or any other
I'm just
suggestion,
curious
I'm willing to take
because-
notes.
Yeah, because you do a lot of Belknap County towns,
Yeah.
and you'd think that the Belknap County would have something available for you.
And they may have a grant program, we should certainly look into that.
Yeah.
I don't think they have anything right
I
now,
don't-
because I think if it was something they
I
would have.
Okay,
I
I'm just
know
curious,
that a
yeah.
lot of their services, they don't even fund anymore, so it's something to look into, but I think that right now, we get taxed from them, so, it's not from their.
Right.
You still are competing too with the visiting nurses in the Laconia area as well. And does Concord come up this far?
Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So we compete with those two agencies. We have a liaison that goes out into the community now. We have worked pretty hard at trying to work with the facilities in the area as well to provide services for them. We generally just say to people, if you want local care, we are more local, and you really kind of want that. They understand your situation because they live here, and so they can ask for us by name, but certainly the hospitals kind of jockey that a little bit about where they go. So they tend to come into our area sometimes, but it's generally more efficient for each agency to focus on their specific areas. It does happen. We go into their areas as well sometimes because we get the call. If we have the client's, best interest at heart, we've got the people to go out
I
there.
think what Tony's trying to say, we are required to comply with the patient's choice. So when they're ready for discharge or they're speaking to their physician that they need services, they're presented with several agencies. And some of them have a more media presence. Concord is on NPR, they've got commercial, they're everywhere. So there may be that subconscious inference that I want to go with Concord because I hear that name all the time. I think that's part of the issue with some of the competition. I think competition is good. Little
Yeah,
healthy
but
competition.
the reason I asked was, I've never been given a choice. I've always been told it's going to be Laconia. And I have had to say, no, I don't want Laconia, I want Franklin. And that's why I asked you that question.
They should always give a choice. It's unethical to not give a choice.
Who's telling you you
Yeah.
have to do one?
It's this, when you're getting ready to go out and leave the hospital,
Oh,
and you're gonna need services after you leave,
okay.
the social worker comes in and discusses aftercare with you.
Right.
And at that point, that's when they tell you that they're going
Who's
to
coming.
refer you to visiting nurses, and
Right.
that's how it gets. And then, but I knew that I had a choice, and that's why. And I know other people have been in the same situation, that's why I asked.
It's an education thing to make sure.
Me,
people
I
know
just,
that.
I just had that choice. I did not have a choice.
Really?
Concord. Concord said, Concord's coming up, and I said,
Yeah,
no,
Concord
no,
Hospital and
Franklin.
Concord Regional VNA are affiliates. So because of that, they
Right.
really try to steer and, keep the revenue dollars within the system.
Yeah,
It's not right. They're not the only hospital that does that.
but they don't give you that choice, they just say they're coming. And unless you personally know that Franklin VNA is your local visiting nurses association, you don't get that choice. You don't get to voice that choice. Once you voice that choice, then they make the necessary arrangements and say, okay, we'll make arrangements. But unless
That's
you're
where we try to
not
take
aware
people,
of
we have
that.
to ask.
Yeah.
Ask for us
Well,
by name.
it's twice that it's happened to me. Both cases, the hospitals were in Massachusetts. So it wasn't a local thing at all. And then I had a friend recently who was in a hospital in Manchester, came up to facilities for rehab in New Hampshire, and her referral again was to VNA in Laconia. So I just want to make sure that we get that people know that if you need services from VNA, you have a choice as to which one you use. And I've been very pleased with Franklin, so I just wanted to make that very clear.
We would love to have a testimonial from you.
Any guy? Yeah, I do have a question for Tabitha. You know, you do, first of all, you do tremendous work, unbelievable work in our community. It's a very integral part of our sustainability for our elderly, not just our older population, but for our younger generations that need, like me with the knee replacement, younger generation. You do a lot of work up at our senior center. You do a lot of programs, the foot clinic, and so on and so forth. Where does the money come from for additional programs if you were to add programs to something sort of like the senior center? Where would you get funding for that? Or is this kind of incorporated?
A lot of the funding that we ask for are to be able to support programs that are currently in play. As far as growing additional programs, I have spoken with my board to try and tap into some of our investment money, and I know people hate to do that, but there is a great need in this community to be able to provide additional services that aren't being offered by any other VNA right now. And I'll give you a great example. We are the most advanced life skills state in the country. So we have a lot of people who have comorbidities. Those comorbidities can also affect your vision. So diabetes, heart disease, uveitis, any anti-inflammatory disorder. And to be in a situation where you're home alone, you don't really have a lot of resources, and to be losing your vision, not only affects your ability to take care of yourself, but your sense of self and your mental health. And that is a huge problem that I've noticed in the couple of months that I've been here, is that there is a need for support services for mental health and for vision. So one of the things that I had told my board when I came on is that I really want to be able to build out a low vision program that we can have our occupational therapists come to your house, do an assessment of your home, make recommendations for assistive devices to allow you to be able to see better and take care of yourself. Trying to partner with the CEO from Health South, Rick Silverberg, to work on the development of that plan, because I do see that there's a need. Because it would be a new program that hasn't been tested, that other agencies aren't currently doing, so I went to my board and said that this is something that I feel very strongly we as an organization should be investing in. Going to the towns and other communities and asking them to help support us should be really geared towards programs that we already have established. I don't want you to invest any money in something that may not work. I think we should have skin in the game for that. So that's kind of how I'm approaching new program development. Sorry, I had my back to you, but she asked the question.
Well, that's all right. This is the one time we have joint meetings with the selectmen, so that you won't have to make a presentation to them and then to the budget committee. So that's why we do it together. So that they're part of us. It's just that there's not room at the table.
No, it's great that everybody is represented.
Are there any other questions?
I have one. Sorry. Has there been an increase from last year to this year in the visits, or has it been relatively the same?
So I can't speak to the whole year. I would say through July for home care, there was a higher volume of visits. Hospice, I don't know if there was like a switch that happened. Hospice volume went up in the midsummer. They've been about 40% above budget all year in terms of volume, which is really, it sounds great, but they've been picking up slack from home care because the home care volume has been down. So that's something that we're looking at. Where are the patients that are in need of those home care services, and why aren't we receiving those referrals? So I'm doing a little investigating about that.
Do you anticipate it getting higher because of the aging population?
I do, but I think we have to work smarter. Just because you have a large volume of people doesn't mean you're giving better care. I'm a nurse first. I would rather have a small census and know that my team is giving the best care out there. That's really important to me. So if we stay with 100 patients, but those 100 patients are getting the best possible care they can, and they're not going back to the hospital, they can manage their own medication, they've received and understanding education to be able to manage their disease processes, I'm happy with that.
Okay, the reason I asked is you asked for level funding, so I just wanted to see what your outlook was for the coming year.
And I think mostly the level funding was about the transition of, actually, EDs. That request came in through the ED that was leaving, and she didn't want to put in for extra stuff if she wasn't sure what the new ED was gonna do. And when we first put that through, I don't even know that I think we were still in the interview process. Yeah, she started in October, we were going through the process in July, and I don't think we made the offer until sometime in August, so, yeah. So, I just think she decided to be safe and just stick with a level funding. She hasn't really changed her funding the time that she's been there anyway. So she's kind of tried to stay consistent with each town as long as our services have remained consistent. And so we've been looking at that. And the level of services that we're putting out there, percentage to town versus what we're asking for has been increasing, stable for the last couple of years.
Is this right? It looks like the budget's gone up 50%.
Actually, that was a preliminary budget, and it's actually dropped again since then. We're right in the middle of our finalization, and we're down from that as well. Down to about 2.7, or I think right, the one we gave you is 2.8.
Your approved budget is 2.76, and your actual budget is 1.6 or something. That's what it says here.
I've always,
Year to date of 1.8.
just from August 18.
Oh, where
Well, I
we
just
were,
don't understand the.
What is your
I
year
figured
end?
it's the figures, I just don't understand. I mean, typically, what is your yearly budget is, if you're like two something?
2 something, yeah.
Yeah, because it just doesn't say that.
This one says 2.7.
So the preliminary budget was 2.7. That was where we were at actually in August, the 1.6.
But over here, the year to date, it's like 1.8. So that's why I'm confused on the beginning of that column.
That's where we were year to date.
If you look to the right of it, Bill, is year-to-date for that date. What's your year run?
Yeah, it looked like it was from,
We're calendar year, yeah.
Okay, so on here it says
Well, you're only showing
August
eight.
or something. No, I understand, yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
we had a
that's your-
2.76 budget for this year, and we're coming in close to that. We always budget tight. And our budget on this proposed budget was 2.79. And I don't want to say the wrong number, but we're still around that. I think we're just below it for where we're landing.
Okay.
Oh, again, we're finalizing. We still have a few numbers that are short. I just got a workers' comp number today, so I've got to go run those numbers and see where we're at, so.
We just identified that we really should be purchasing a new vaccine fridge.
Right.
And we had a scare, we thought we lost about 40 vials.
So good.
It's still a lot of vaccinated people, but, I mean, that's a large
Yeah.
amount of money.
It's a big chunk of money.
And the fridge is expensive, but I don't want to risk having vaccine that's not safe.
I have two questions. You say that your part-time or full-time staff will increase in the coming year. And where are you going to make the increase?
Was this in the letter that she sent?
Oh, this is in the.
Our guideline and application.
Application sheet.
Did you give me anything?
No, it says that our part-time or full-time staff will increase.
Oh, because we are, and she's saying increase, but we have a vacant position for a nurse that we need to fill.
If you know a nurse.
If you know a nurse, we'll take it, yeah. So she may have called that an increase, but it's still we're pretty straight line, we've been straight line for the last couple of years.
All right, and the other question I have, you mentioned hospice. Where do you send your hospice patients?
So we do not do a hospice facility, we do hospice as it was created in home.
Okay. Okay, but I had a friend who was in hospice at Franklin Hospital, and you gave services there.
Yep, we can do that as well.
Okay, all
There
right.
there are facilities, Franklin right now has Wing, I believe, also the Peabody Home. They're a private facility, but, you know, if somebody wants us to do hospice care here, we do that. We also provide services at all the other facilities as requested, or if we have a patient on service that goes into a facility. And one of the things that TAC has already gone out and done in the last 2 months is started to go to those facilities and see what their needs are, what can we provide to you for services, because we're your local service, and we want to be able to provide the best care for everybody, whether they're in a facility or at home.
And you calculate your request on number of services from each town, you got kind of like
We don't calculate it based on that, but we do look at those numbers, and then we make sure that our census in that town is still the same, so that we're only asking for the percentage of services that we're providing. And again, we only ask for 2% from any of the municipalities. For all of the municipalities together that we cover, we ask for 2%. So your percentage of that is like 0.4% of our total budget.
Okay.
But yes, we try to be consistent with the level of care that or the quantity of care that we're providing through the communities.
I know there have been problems in the past with the various changes in Medicare and Medicaid, expanded Medicaid. This coming year, do you see any problems at all?
So this year is a big transition and preparation year. We are having a complete overhaul of the reimbursement structure for Medicare, effective 2020. So we've got a big lift to try and get our AMR, our electronic medical record, ready, training for the staff, as well as planning for the additional FTEs that we'll need in the following year in 2020, just for the back-end office and the billing. I mean, the amount of coding that we have to do for diagnoses was 6 this year. We'll be doing 25 next year. Our diagnosis codes used to be 7 numbers, and now they're currently 10 digits, and they're looking at moving that to 14 digits. So there's a lot of opportunity for error that requires a big lift in terms of education and finding the right resources.
But how's that going to affect your funding? I guess that's what I was told.
I think we're gonna have to come back after that 2020, probably with bigger asks. I mean, we really have to be fiscally responsible, look at our building efficiencies to see if we'll be able to be sustainable with the changing payment structure, especially if there's a reduction in funds from the towns and communities that are willing to help support us.
What are the communities that you provide services to?
Sure, we provide services to Franklin, Andover, Webster, Salisbury,
Sanborn,
Belmont,
Belmont,
Sandton, Northfield. Yeah, they should be all on.
There are, she doesn't.
I have
Oh,
a
you don't
sheet.
have that,
Oh,
I'm
no, I
sorry.
have the sheet. The reason I ask is, I assumed you did Franklin, but they're not listed on your municipal appropriation. So do you not receive monies from the city of Franklin?
Where are you looking that they're not listed, because they should
It's
be?
not, if she's got an application.
I have an application, I've got Andover, Belmont Hill, Northfield, Salisbury, Sanborn, Tilton, and Webster. I do not have.
You know,
city of Franklin.
that's a typo, because 50% of our ask comes from Franklin. They're our biggest contributor municipally, and they're also our biggest draw
Are
of
all the
business.
communities that you service on that list, except for Franklin, you've already determined that was.
Franklin should be on here. We
Right.
ask them all, and they all give money,
But are all the.
but different amounts, yeah.
All the communities you service, are they on the list, with the exception of Franklin?
That is true. We have
Yeah, 'cause you said that you service 9 communities.
Because there's only 7 on the list.
No, there's 8.
Is there 8?
Eight.
1, 2,
Yeah,
3,
there
4,
are 8.
5, 6, 7, oh yeah, 8, Webster, sorry, I always say them wrong.
And Franklin would be the ninth.
Franklin even
service Boston to a certain extent, but we're not there enough to ask them for money, so.
So the city of Franklin should be on here.
Yes, the city of Franklin should absolutely be on there. I wonder if they just put towns, that would be silly. It's the only thing I could see the difference, Franklin's our biggest,
It says municipal. Thank you.
it's a
that's my
city,
question.
maybe that's why, but it's still municipal appropriation.
No, I know, but I'm saying if we could just put towns, they would put. All right, any other questions? No, thank you very much.
Great,
Thank
thanks.
you so much for your time, everyone.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
Good service. Good service.
I have some,
Better than
I
last
want to make,
I didn't realize, I lived across the street from them for so long, I didn't even realize they were on the side.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thanks so much, appreciate it. We were lost in fire, we were lost in hours from jail, just wanted
thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you. And I didn't know Franklin had opened up a wing for hospitals. I see, Jen, all your big guns are here
I
now.
did, I brought my big guns. It's Kathy Mitchell, Rachel Saliba, and our bookkeeper Stephanie G.
It's up on them.
Stephanie G.
I don't
Stephanie, more things, every time I turn
She
around.
just doesn't want to
there's
pronounce
something
it.
else.
Stephanie G.
Are you everybody's everything?
I'm everybody's everything.
She is.
And I see on Facebook, you're always answering questions there too. so-
Yeah.
Thank you.
She knows it very well. I'm not exactly sure if this matches what I had originally given. I can't remember. Honestly, it's been.
Which one, the one you just gave out, if it doesn't, should be the one you follow?
This is the one you should follow. And I just, what I can give you. I also left at it. I'm gonna back up the place. I don't want to leave it that way.
Oh, no, you're not.
You sure?
So we will ask.
But I read-
Today we have more.
Thank you.
What you said, call it this one.
Yeah, if you could follow the one that I just handed out, that's more accurate, I would say, in what we're asking. We're asking for the 130, but there's better information on this handout.
Okay.
Do you need us to sign in to your best log?
And I'm going to have us go around and introduce ourselves. You just introduced everyone, Jen, thank you, because we have new faces.
Fit order out.
Susan Novitsky.
Jane Alden.
Peter Fogg.
And I think you heard me say it's a joint meeting with the selection, so you don't have to come and do this twice.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'm never entirely sure what you would all like to hear, so I'll start with some new statistics that we have based on 2017's reports that we sent to the state. There are 226 libraries in New Hampshire, and of the 226 libraries, we came in number 41 for checkouts, so we're in the top, we're 41st for the highest checkouts. We're number 30 for program attendance, with most people who attend our programs, but we are 137th for how much money we actually spend on programs, so.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah,
Ours when we say we do a lot with a little.
yeah, our staff is just fantastic. But the one that I thought was the most telling and really kind of is the most significant for us on a day-to-day basis is that we're number 18 on the number of computer sessions that we have. Granted, our computers are used for just 30 minutes at a time, but people can come back and get another use. So as long as there's an open computer, they can still use it. So we're 18 out of 226 for computer sessions, and we're 74th for the numbers of computers that are going through public access. So those are some of our numbers. I will say that this year's been rather busy and a bit different. We've had a lot of people who seem to be living rough and a bit more transient, and it's caused a few problems and taken up a lot more staff time. But we are doing pretty well. It's been very busy.
How many people work there?
That's a good question. So, I think it's 8. 2 full-time people, and then, we have a handyman, and then we have, so then we have 5 part-time people. 2 are really part-time, like just less than 10 hours a week. And we have 1 substitute.
You were having problems with your roof, is that resolved?
We are having problems with our roof.
Still?
It is not resolved. We're going to put out a request for quotes and hope to get it replaced in the spring. And that will come out of our capital improvements fund. So we are not asking either of the towns to help with that.
I think you have to realize that we were struck with a problem with the furnace
I
last
know that,
January.
yeah, I do, and that's why I asked about the roof this year.
We've had some AC problems and some carpet problems.
How much do you have in the capital improvements? We have enough to cover the
Yeah,
roof?
from the front.
97,000.
Of the new sheet she handed out.
96,000.
Oh, yeah, you'll have enough.
We hope, because there's slate on the other.
Oh,
So we're praying that that stays. When you have a building that's 130 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There bound to be things that's.
so the old part is all slate?
And the new part is now 20 years old and it needs to be replaced. And then that's asphalt. shingles.
So what part is it?
It's the new part.
New part.
Yeah, ironically.
Should have been that slate, right?
I know, right? Honestly, the slates.
No?
Well, it's hard to tell. If we did anything, we would probably do a L-chip grant because we're on the National Register of Historic
Yeah.
Places. But it's a 50-50 grant,
Yeah.
and it would be really, probably not very frugal to use all our capital improvement funds just
Right.
on the roof.
Right.
But we have some of those.
Jamie could help you with that.
I did meet with Jeannie on Monday,
Jamie's great with LG.
and she said she would be willing to help us.
Yeah, there you go.
She's a fantastic resource. You guys are really lucky.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Kudos to us on that one.
I
Woo-hoo.
know.
Be careful not to work for too long.
Now, the Belly investments, are those the trust funds?
Those are our trust funds.
Yeah.
Some of them go back to the late 1800s.
I know, I used to actually be trustee of the trust funds. So
Oh, did you?
interested in it. I used to do the old books before they computerized it.
Mhm.
But,
So
don't you get some kind of income from that? Or?
We do.
Well, there's a trust department.
we do get some income, yep. There's been some confusion, and so we've worked really hard in the past year to figure out where all of our money has come from. And Stephanie has done some really extensive research through our minutes and the existing, what we have left of our financial information, and to figure out what is restricted versus what is non-restricted.
Yeah, a lot of it's restricted.
Restricted, yeah, I know, I remember
Yeah.
going over those.
Yeah.
Including the interest.
Crazy.
Yeah, including the interest
The
for what we
interest
can.
Yeah, no,
for
I
what
know.
we can use the
It's
interest
really
for.
kind of absurd, but
Yeah.
And,
that's what the trust funds are all about.
yeah, and there's not,
Storm donors.
Yeah.
we're kind of missing, there's a couple of gaps in these too, so we don't have exactly every single penny down to the, so we're working very hard. Stephanie's working incredibly hard to. We've also put a capital improvements, done capital improvements. Thank you, CIP, this year, and it's kind of a wish list based on what we.
How does that capital improvement fund get created? You do that every year, try to budget?
No, there's a line on the.
There's a line finding the expenses.
Okay, so yeah, this is a yearly,
Yeah, capital
okay,
improvement fund,
sure,
$500, we
okay.
add to it every year.
And if there's money left over in our budget, we try to add that.
There's also restricted donations for capital. The towns haven't contributed $36,000.
Yeah, right.
Do you want a big picture view of what, the number that we have for this budget? Does that help you?
You know, like a year,
So how we got to the number that we have, how we got the number we're asking? Do you want
sure.
do you want to do it, or do you?
Well,
Yeah, I don't really know exactly where you're going.
So when you look at, our budget's different, right? We're asking for a different amount this year. Our budget's actually increased over since last year. And we're asking for, let's see, we're asking for $1,272 more this year than we did last year. And when we sat down and did the budget this summer, we realized that our wages were increased, but the biggest hit was our health and dental as well as our insurance. We had quite a few insurance claims last year, and so you don't want to know what they were, but we're happy to share.
So our health insurance,
Nice dams.
so our building insurance and our accounting.
okay.
Yeah, and I have tried to get different insurance, and different quotes, but Matt Steady has said that based on the claims that we have, one of which was still outstanding at the time, we could not get any, and we also have some sort of, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I believe it was a personal business insurance and, it was just a small business insurance.
Small business insurance.
And that most insurance companies do not quote us in the same lines, so they require more than what we're currently paying. So we advise them to stay with what we have. And then our health insurance it's going down this year? No,
It's on 4%.
well, the cost of it's going down, but we have added, one of our staff members got married. Two of our staff members got married and it went up.
So as a board, we felt really strongly that we want to pay a living wage for our professionals. It's a master's degree we earn, and the work that they're doing is extremely important and within our community. They're not only helping share excitement of reading, but we're dealing as social workers as well. They get anyone and everyone off the street can come in, whether or not they're residents or whether or not they want to read a book, just use the bathroom.
Offering computer classes for people, especially the seniors.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of different programs that are being offered.
I would say though, to technically be called a librarian, you do need your master's degree. So I am the only person at our library who has a master's degree, but at least two of my staff members have been there for almost 12 years, and so that's considered essentially the same, because they have so much experience, and so that is totally true. In terms of our bathroom usage, we do see a lot of people from the trail who have come to the area. We've had people from as far away as England, who come in, sometimes I'm chatty and I'll just chat with people who come in, so that they'll say, this couple in particular was staying at Gunstock, and they came over to use the trail and ride bikes with their family. So we do get some people who come in to use that, but we also get people who are living rough, or maybe they are in transition, and so they use our facilities as well. And it's a safe place where they don't have to spend any money and can still come in and use our facilities. We have a lot of people who come in with direct service providers, so they may not live in our two towns in Tilton Northfield, but they live locally. We have a woman who comes in and does free tutoring for a lot of people who have direct service providers, so we have a pretty large population that comes in to use our facilities for that.
You're also doing some outreach with the schools.
Oh, I forgot about the library loan. Thank you, Kathy, and that's why I have an awesome team kind of me. So, our young adult and our children's librarian have started, basically it's a bookmobile, but they call themselves the Library Llamas to kind of give them a brand. Where they're going to Southwick and the middle school, and they take books with them, and they're signing all the kids up for cards. At the elementary school, they have to bring the cards home to their parents and have them sign and bring it back. And then they can check books out at the school, and then they can return them to the school libraries. And so just a way to get kids reading and excited. At Southwick, they are always over the moon to see us, and we have had to send somebody back for more books. And it's just really, it's turning into a really positive experience, both for my staff members who are psyched about it and for the kids. For Union Sanborn, we started having tours where they come in, and we've had all this in over the years where they come in and they tour with their class, but the last one we had was really busy. Schools over the school, and we just went so well. It was very exciting. All the kids were excited, and after these events that we have, we always have kids who come back and say, "Oh, I was just here with my mom. And, we saw this book at the Library Llama, and I want to check out the next one series." So it kind of gets kids talking about it and really a lot more excited. Especially at Southwick, they don't have a dedicated library time for any of their kids. They can go to the library, but it's not, it's not like gym and art. They don't get sent to the library now. So it gets them very pumped up about the game.
And the middle school is doing this too?
Yes. And we had also started in the high school, but they were not necessarily talking, like they weren't that excited about it. So Brittany, who's our young adult librarian, just goes to the high school library and communicates with the librarian and talks to kids there. But it's not really the library mama portion of it. It's originally started.
About 4 years ago, part of the thing on the budget committee for the school, we went to Union Sanborn, and they just started a program where each kid was assigned an individual book, and they had their little books they got to take in the classroom and read. And it was amazing. I've never seen kids so excited about touching a book. Now, I grew up touching books, but think about it, in this day and age, a lot of kids don't have books at home. They have Chromebooks at school, or they have computers, even at Union Sanborn as soon as they start there. So to have a real book with real pictures and real words on the page was something new and different.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the areas where you can play a really vital role for our students.
And we're also trying to find other places for our books after we read them. So, books kind of get older, become less popular, or, for one reason or another, they leave our shelves. And so we will have a book sale for those. But for our kids' books, we've been giving them to First Student to give away on the school buses. And that is working out really well. And I can't remember how it came about, but I think one of the school bus drivers said to me, he was buying books at one of our book sale for the bus. So we decided that instead of giving it to Goodwill, because we do end up with surplus books at some point, that we would give it to the school bus drivers, and then they find another life and keep going and get to the museums.
I encourage anybody in the community to go to the library at some point in time. It is a hub of real activity. It's not what people usually think of about libraries, but do yourself a favor and go and look and see what goes on.
I haven't been to this one.
Yeah. Not only that, it's really pretty. We have all that stained glass that sadly will
It's
eventually
small,
be
but
fixed.
very pretty.
Yeah. So, we have a lot going on that we can offer that isn't just books, but is really more rewriting. We also have started, in case you know anybody who can't make the library hours because they may commute or work too many hours, we have an e-card so that if they are in town and we can verify, if they're a taxpayer in Tilton or Northfield, we can verify that via the tax rolls and can give them an electronic card so they can check out ebooks and audiobooks, for whatever purpose.
Okay.
I do. Can I ask a question on the budget? The heat, you're going from 10,000 to 6,000. I have a question on that. In ground maintenance, you're going from 2,250 to 500. Can you explain that?
Well, part of it is, last January,
The
February,
new furnace?
we got a new furnace. So I think when the trustees were doing this year's budget, they looked at the past 3 years and tried to find a way to cut the budget down and based on that. So, between the new furnace and hoping that we'll have, based on those 3 years in the new furnace, we're hoping it will be just 6,000.
Okay. And so what about grounds maintenance?
So grounds, we used to put aside, it was like $2,500.
Yeah,
or something. 20. So we used to put aside some money for plowing the parking lot, because we would have to pay the school, and the school said, don't worry about it, we're not gonna bill you. So we took that out of the budget, because they plow it anyways.
Right, got it?
But in anticipation of your next question about the budget, we got sidetracked, I didn't finish what, I wanted to give you the big overview. We looked at our expenses increasing by 10,000, so we went and tried to chip away at areas that maybe we had been holding that we didn't need to, such as the heat and the ground. And then we looked really closely, because of Steph's research, on restricted gifts that we could, restricted funds from our trust that we could use to cover some of our regular operating expenses, like book purchases. So that's why we're not asking each town to make up the difference of our increase in wages and insurance and benefits. We looked more creatively and open-mindedly at our trust, to try to use some of the trust to cover it, and then the rest is, we did pie in the sky stuff. We really want to have a full-time children's librarian because of the very reason that you said. We want to increase literacy in this town, and in Northfield is tragically low, and the best way to do it is get kids when they're little. So we had our druthers, we were asking you for $50,000, but we're realistic.
What's the cost on having a full-time children's library?
I think, Jenna, you said 50,000.
I mean, if you're gonna pay somebody an actual living wage, it would probably be between 45 and 50.
And that's including benefits, not including benefits, so, yeah.
So would you take an existing librarian that you have there now and switch her to a dedicated child's librarian? Could you do that and then just cut the cost and?
We have a child's librarian, a children's librarian.
Yeah, she works 24 hours a week.
So what would be the difference if you were to make that person full-time?
Well, she currently makes 14 something an hour,
Yeah.
so
She's not living,
you'd have to bump that up to,
Well, you'd be increasing her hours to 40.
so.
Then you have to pay her
And
benefits.
then you have to pay her benefits, and then.
So what would you do with a full-time children's librarian during the day, when they're in school?
Well, I mean, that's when she often works, so
So what does she do?
it's not all school children that use it.
yeah, no, she does a lot of early childhood
Yeah.
literacy things. She goes out to the daycares. Right now it's every other week, but it's often, especially in the summer, they'll walk over.
But they
And-
have that reading program.
So she
10
does-
o'clock, I think, from
Yeah, so she does story times.
story time.
We could expand to a baby lap sit and read, and.
So this would benefit only the kids in daycare.
Oh, no, this would be for kids who can also come to the library too. But you're right, we wouldn't be able to catch them all.
Well, after school,
Yeah, after
and on
school.
weekends. I mean, the
For
way,
those who can walk, or whose parents would drop them
So
down,
if you
that's
have
the problem.
a part-time librarian, child's librarian now, and the monies was just a little bit more than what you have now, which would increase tenfold to getting our children into more literacy, into a preschool, daycare, that kind of environment, and after-school programs. You know, would it, my thought process is it worth our tax dollars to do that, or is it not worth our tax dollars to do that? That's where I'm going, you know, I mean.
You're probably talking 85,000 benefits.
No, because you already have an
Now.
existing one
No, no,
now.
I meant total.
The other problem is you want to take money away from the school district, don't you?
And we can say, we support a full-time children's library.
I mean, I'm a reader, and I'm a really huge proponent of early childhood literacy and getting kids to have a lifelong love and learning of it. Especially, I'm a huge fan of preschool and kindergarten, but I'm, you know, not really, that doesn't seem to be super popular all the time. So I would say it's worth your money, especially when, if you look at some of the statistics, like something like 50% of 11th graders at Winnisquam don't read at their level of proficiency at 11th grade. That's very concerning. So if you can get them young, get them to love reading, or just find some way to expand their vocabulary and get them out comfortable at the library or with books and reading literature and magazines and graphic novels. Any of those things will expand their vocabulary and kind of open their world up a bit, and let them know that it can be something that they can love and enjoy. So I think it's worth your tax dollars. But I live in Hill, so I can't really.
Let's say we already paid those tax dollars to the school, and you're telling me, when the selectmen, you're sitting there telling me things that are very concerning about my school district.
It's bad. If there's.
I mean, I know from personal,
We-
from my
we-
own children and grandchildren, but to hear you tell me and verify what I already know is very upsetting.
Jenna and I worked with a United Way group talking about literacy in New Hampshire. Tilton is in a bad place. Tilton, our Winnisquam School District is not at where it should be. And the key,
We don't pay enough for the
well,
teachers.
it's statistically, there's all sorts of studies done on early literacy and income as an adult and education level. And it is so short-sighted to not increase and put effort into early childhood as a community. But I think that it is really, we've all been to budget meetings, we know what it feels like when you want to say you want to raise.
I'm gonna say this, and I've never said this in 10 years as a selectman, not, and as a budget committee, and you keep your mouth quiet. I have never said this, but it's worth going back and getting those numbers and making another presentation to the budget committee. Because, you know, we paid money to programs such as Pines Community Center, and $67,000 of our tax dollars go there to programs, after-school programs. You know, coming from, you know, a background where we were not taught as children to read, sadly. Probably we didn't have enough books to go around when we were kids, but still, we were not taught in a parochial school to read. And that's a detriment to me today in my old age. I would love to see children learn to read in preschool. Jenny knows it, she's an avid reader, I'm not.
Especially, we run this program that's called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, and so it's statewide, and the libraries can elect to enroll in it. And it just encourages people to read 1,000 books to their kids before they get into kindergarten, because it's, you know, studies have shown that that's what they need to have in order to be proficient when what is considered proficient when they enter kindergarten now.
And affordability right now is a concern with a lot of families around, and the library is a huge resource for us in our community for that affordability. And I think that if the numbers can work, and I'm not saying that they can, I don't know if they can or not, but we don't know. We're just, we don't know. So I'm saying, think about it and go back and work those numbers. You've got a part-time, work those numbers to see what it is for a full-time, but also make a presentation to what all you could expand to be, and what those programs that you would expand to do, what they would benefit us in the future, the children.
Okay.
I really sincerely believe that we need that kind of thing here in Tilton. And well, Northfield does too. You know, you need to make that presentation in both towns. You know, obviously, the school has neglected to do this for a long time. Well, I see it on the buses.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to look
You
far.
pay the teachers enough and you won't have
I
that problem.
don't have, and people shoot down wages. Teachers don't get paid enough. I'm an advocate for that.
But Winnisquam loses its best teachers. They don't
Because
stay.
they don't
Because they
pay
don't
enough.
pay enough.
They don't stay.
It's not all pay.
No, it isn't.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so either.
No, Bill's so
That's
program.
right. But, so,
Mr. Fogg.
If we're talking reading key to educational success and all, I think the studies prove that if you have them reading on grade level no later than grade 3, they will be successful in school. The Winnisquam School District has been aware of this for over 6 years. I haven't seen where they've done squat in their reading programs to address it. I think the first point would be to go after them and say, what's your follow-up to the focus monitoring program from around 2011, 2012 era?
I would also say, like, in Southwick, like, the greenhouse time is awesome, but what about library time? Because they don't have it anymore. But I am a librarian, I will say that I'm,
Bias.
thank you, I am biased. But also, when I was a kid, that was my favorite time of the whole week, you know, when you get to go to the library, check out books, and look through maps, and have some time alone.
But I bet your mother read to you when you were little too.
No, I don't actually remember that, but I was.
See, I remember that, and I bet that doesn't happen a lot now.
Slow my first.
I couldn't wait to be able to read, because somebody read to me from the time I could have memories.
So, additionally, in case anybody ever asks you to go to a school and read to their classrooms, it's shown time after time, especially for men, that if kids are seeing people in public reading, that they are more likely to model that. And so if you're ever asked to go into a classroom and you can do it, to read to a student, or a group of students during story time, you know, even if you're a little nervous about it, because I am terrible at story time, so children make me really nervous. But, you know, if you can just do it, it's fun, it ends up being fun, and then you're role modeling a public behavior that kids really need to see, especially for men. You don't often see that.
I actually did that, I think, over at Union Center a few times years ago.
If you included RSAs, I'm sure it's Captain volunteer.
I can
How
read
about
them.
constitutions? Yeah.
Catherine, you have a comment or question? Are you waving? I don't know what.
No, well, I did have a question, and it was on the budget. So, and I apologize if this was answered because, but I can't hear because you're not using the microphones. But, your benefits, health, and dental is $27,144 for the proposed budget. In 2018, what was budgeted was $19,855. That's quite an increase.
So we had,
$7,000.
yeah, we had somebody that, well, 2 people that got married. Plus, we found out that, well, we realized that our 2 full staffers do not have life and disability insurance. So we add that back into our budget. They haven't had it for 3 years now, since I think 2015.
When we stopped being, when we were stopped, Northfield used to let us join in with them, and they just changed their insurance, and we stayed with school care. And so when that happened,
It's kind of got lost.
The disability got lost.
Dropped, and we just realized
Do you
that.
still tie in with Northfield?
no, we have school care, so
Just
we're
Cigna,
we're
part of Cigna.
grouped in with a bunch of other people who have under 50 employees each, so it kind of makes our buying power better. So we're called their under 50.
So it works out better for you?
She's actually grouped in like with like Pines Community Center and
And
things like that,
YFD.
all the small little entities.
So yeah, it does work better.
Yeah. And they actually did have a meeting with school care to see if there was her in the Pines, to see if there was a better benefit plan for their small group. And they basically said, what you have is really good for your money and stuff, so they stick with it.
My other question is, are there programs you have that you charge a fee for?
There are some programs that we have charged fees for in the past, but it's usually if it's involved any sort of supplies. So a few years ago, we had a woman teaching quilling, and so she would charge for the kit that she would teach from. Every now and then, if we're making mugs, we'll charge $1 for the mug, but for the most part, we do not. We charge for faxes, printing, copies, we do sell coffee. We do book sales. And then every now and then we'll do, like a fundraiser, we have some library book bags that we sell for $5, and I think we make $3 off of it.
And where do you advertise your services?
Our services are advertised on Facebook and Instagram. We have a Snapchat, but I don't really know that much about that one. And then
You lost her at Facebook.
I know.
Totally Instagram.
Yeah, I know. So,
We do RSAs,
She's got the flip.
so we have
my
the,
ads and RSAs.
Also the Echo.
I was gonna say, we're in the Monitor and the Echo and the Daily Sun and the Northfield News. Yeah.
So do you have, is it a page, you know, that you send out? Like the Times will send out monthly, this is what's going on at the Times. Do you have something you send out more and more? I'm getting at is because
Yes.
someone has a website that could put your page on.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. But who would we contact in order to do that? Because,
Tim,
okay, Tim. So for the Northfield newsletter, I just send it to Steph, but we have a staff member who is in charge of sending out publicity information. And so for her, she goes and types everything into the interface at the Echo and the Monitor and the Daily Sun, so that it's coming out in their paper, but we enter the information into it for them. And then we do a monthly press release, essentially. So I can definitely have her email it to Tim, right?
It's a good idea, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
Well, it's like someone like me, I do a book with them. I don't do Facebook, and, you know.
it's
very
tax
seldom-
time, tax time will have a newsletter go out
I
with
very
the
seldom
tax bills.
Oh, that's a
That's
great
a
idea.
great idea.
read the paper, so I don't have a clue what services you have. I have to ask other people.
Well, which paper
You
do
can
you?
sign up for the Northfield News.
I see it in the Sun all the time.
Yeah, we're in the Sun.
Right on their website, I do it.
I was gonna say, she does a better newsletter for us than we do.
I know.
It's beautiful.
I'll show it to you.
Community ads.
That's
But
what I'm saying, I mean, and I'm
Yeah.
not alone in the world, I want you to know.
I'm right with you on that one, I don't know your services,
But-
I'm sorry.
that's okay. It's understandable, so libraries are generally speaking really supported and wanted in communities, but not everybody who supports a library can make it there or has it as a priority or uses it, but it's still looked on as something that really is essential to having in a community.
But most people think it's just a place to read a book or take out a book.
Oh, yeah, you should
just
come
scroll
to
down
you should
to
come
the
on a
library
Wednesday
part.
or
Let's see
the
the
third
library.
Tuesday of every month.
Well, I was just trying to find out.
It goes right to your email.
We do Friday afternoons. They say it too, but most of the ladies don't get there.
What's your
until
email?
3. You can also
Is it
send a
online?
line to calendar.
Because a friend of mine asked.
Yes, we do. And they actually will teach anybody who comes. We have extra knitting needles, we have extra yarn, and they've taught a lot of people how to knit over the years.
Oh, really? So I did like a rough, very rough calculation for what you were asking about the full-time person. And I came up to approximately $62,000 a year additionally. That's with family plan benefits, insurance, retirement.
And what did they get, who's she get now?
Right now, she's about $17,000 a year.
I was right, about 85,000.
Well, no, that, the $60,000 was additional.
Oh,
So 60,000 split 2 ways, it's 30,000 for Tilton.
Your insurance is coming with us.
I was gonna say, will you come?
I'll go
Bill, I'm thinking, oh,
to the budget. I can't go on town meeting day, but,
Sure.
because I'm at my own meeting. but-
Well, you do a recess.
We
Recess.
I
You know
think
what?
it is something that eventually.
Just do
we are gonna have
FaceTime
to
during
do.
the same time we do it, the budget, just we'll recess our meeting and we'll do FaceTime. Oh,
I
computer.
just had a question,
Right.
Teams, I mean, typically the towns give you this about the same every year, but in 2018, they, was there just 30,000 less? What was that about?
No, that's only until September.
Are you doing as like?
Oh, actual to, oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, that's only until like
Oh, yeah.
October, sorry.
Okay, I'm learning how to do these.
Okay,
Oh, they can
yeah,
use
because
these.
the year's not
Read
over yet.
programs for these.
The year's not over.
I'll read
2018's
aloud
not
to you.
over yet, so.
Okay, I see the other one's kind of, with a full year, that's what I said. I just
Yeah, yeah.
extrapolated it. Okay.
all right. Any other questions?
Can I just get clarity to know what our marching orders are? Are you asking us as a town entity that you want us to redo our budget for the full-time children's librarian? Is that accurate? Do you want us to submit for that? I just want to make sure that we know.
Look into it.
Look into it.
Look into it and come with a number. Don't redo your whole budget, but just come in with the addition with a final, accurate number of what it would cost with health, wages, health and benefits, but also in addition to that, of what the programs, are really substantial programs are gonna do for the
How it's
town.
actually
So
work.
in addition to keep your budget the same way it is right now,
Okay.
and then we decide whether or not to add it in.
And you want it to go to whom and by when? I need details,
Well,
because I work on.
You can send it to the Board of Selectmen and then they'll forward it, or just send it to Johanna and she'll send it to the board and budget.
By when?
Yeah,
It's
but
a relevant question,
No, I
right?
know.
Well, I would say
I'm
we-
not
It's gonna be very
ignoring, I'm trying to
very-
think of my.
Have you presented to Northfield?
We presented to, our select board,
Already?
yes.
But not to the budget committee.
Yeah, the select board is just the default budget.
So are you gonna present to the budget?
I believe they said sometime in January.
Yeah.
Oh, good, you got time then. Oh, you got plenty of time. Let us know, because we'll show up that night.
Oh, my
Show
God.
up
Get
that
it
night.
to us by the end of
Thursday.
will 2 weeks give you enough time?
Yeah,
Okay. Get it to us in 2 weeks.
I'll send it to you,
Johanna. Yeah, and then-
Sewer@tiltonnh.org.
Oh, I thought it was sower. That she was horse stitching.
Sewer.
Sower. How do you spell sower? Someone who sews.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
I'm not gonna stop, I'm gonna wait to trip him down the stairs.
How do you spell it, Rachel? How do you spell it?
Phonetically. Because I can't spell to save my life.
Maybe because you didn't learn to read.
I like picture books.
That's what I did.
I will say, one of our favorite days at the library is when our picture book orders come in, because we all unbox it and we look at them and they kind of creak open and they've got that great smell. And if I'm still feeling that at 43, then I can't even imagine what kind of joy it must be for a little kid. And when kids find the new ones on the shelves, they're like, I'm the first person to check this out, get this little glow. It's lovely. It's a lovely thing.
Imagine at 67.
I hope I'm still opening
Remind,
boxes.
try 75. All right, guys, thank you. Oh, okay.
On the ebook and e-video, the e-card, are any of those children's books or anything in that?
So we subscribe to a service that the entire state goes in on, so it's a consortium. There are children's books that are ebooks. I haven't really explored that portion of it a lot, but I know that they do.
It's supposed to be YA, so.
And they do have a lot of children's audiobooks though.
Yeah.
Audiobooks is one of our biggest growing, book sections.
This technology is having a negative effect. If you don't give them technology, they're not always going to want to open a book. It's true. They got cell phones at 5 years old, like,
You know, people say that, but I would argue that it's really the case, that the connection that kids have with their caregiver when they read to them is so much more valuable still. They don't,
if you start it really
I
young.
don't feel like it's been replaced. I feel like it's become for parents and that are, you know, working 2 jobs, double income, it's really hard to find the time. And some parents don't necessarily feel they have a skill. So a children's librarian teaches parents also how to read to your child in an animated way. Or even maybe helps about literacy and starting with easy books and teaching your child.
The society too, because I have a grandson that's 2 who loves books, because that's what we do. And then when they hit 6, they don't have books. They got their, iPads and their.
My teenagers still get books for Christmas every year.
Well,
My daughter is 24 and she still will only do books, not e-books.
And studies are showing that the millennials are the ones that are using library services the most right now, and more because they have such a debt load and they can't necessarily afford all of the books that they would like to be able to buy, so they can come to the library and get them, or interlibrary loan them, or request a purchase, and so.
They're resourceful.
Yeah, and they like unplugging and sitting down and just being able to focus, because think about, there are so few times when we do, I've listened to audiobooks now, because when I become my mother, I fall asleep and I start reading. But it's true, like, even when I do read books, often it's on my phone now, so. I contribute to that also.
And she's a librarian.
Yeah, it's true.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for my backup team.
Oh, we are. Very good.
Thank you.
Think so?
Yes, Deb can help you with that. The presentations are going through,
Yeah,
so they hear it.
I'll bring chocolate.
We usually
I
bake
was
for them
thinking-
ahead of time.
I'll take some
Chocolate.
cookies.
Honestly, that's my.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks.
You know, another issue is that a lot of parents can't read. That's very sad. A lot of parents can't read. That is a smart of our educational system, but anyway.
I was bummed when I used to read like all the Harry Potter books to my kids, and then I finally got older and said, no, I'm gonna read myself. I didn't get to read it.
All I gotta say is I'm excited about going to the library, and I'm excited for the library.
It's nice.
It's been 10 years, so.
Well, they also
Yeah.
have a lot of good programs there. If you look, again, in the Sun,
Yeah.
or the Echo, or whatever, it lists what their activities are for the week, and there are a lot of good activities there. A lot of good. The only problem is that you gotta get there early if you're going to a lecture or some kind of a series, because they really are very crowded. They just don't have room. And they don't have any place to expand. That's a sad thing. But 2 things I wanted to bring up tonight. One is Old Home Day, and the other is the concert series. We're not gonna not fund those, I would assume, ever. I'm just curious to know how other people feel about, as long as they want to ask for level funding, do we need to have them come in every year?
Well, I think the discussion last time was about them not showing up, but the application clearly says the application is to be on time, not their physical presence.
But I'm saying, in the future, do we even need to have them here physically if they don't request additional funding?
So you're saying that if a town department's level funding, you're gonna bypass them too?
Well, we're talking about 2 different kinds of things.
No, budget's a budget. You can still have questions, because things in the economy can change where fuel can drop to nothing and they keep it high. We want to question it. I would not close the door on it.
we closed the door on the Parks Department and those things, because those are paid every year. I'm just saying, there's a big difference in not having Public Works come in and not having Old Home Day. One's asking for a large sum of money, one's asking for a very small amount.
And those two also have separate accounts and all, so do you check in from year to year? What are those accounts doing? Are they growing in money? Are they spending it down? Are they using us so they can keep it padded high?
Would
Those
that
are-
be in their application though?
Yeah.
Yeah, would be on,
Yeah.
whatever they would add to their application.
Let's say we review their application and then if we have questions.
And then subject to meeting, I wouldn't say that you're exempt, but you may be asked to come in.
Yeah.
Well, we would do that anyway.
I wouldn't say that you're free to go. I'd say you need to submit and be prepared. You may be asked to come to a meeting.
Yeah, I think we
fine.
want a submission.
Yeah.
And
We
with
would still
what we
want the
asked, that'd be
submission,
fine,
but
yeah.
do we want to have them to come in here physically if they're not asking for additional money?
Yes.
No,
Well, I would say that in their submission, we would determine if they need to come in.
That's fine, but the way Jane's going, here it is. I'm not requesting a change. I'm not coming in. And I don't want to say that.
Well, the only other things, in Peter's defense, what if there's a lot of new people? You know?
What did you just vote on last week, the week before, for Old Home Day though? I'm confused.
We
they
haven't
didn't
voted,
have to come in this time.
They
They-
asked,
they-
but
they
they requested a
asked that they-
waiver.
that
Since
we
they're-
waived.
Nobody else requested.
Okay.
And they requested that they
We
need to come in
said
because they're
yes.
level funding.
And that's what I'm saying, if they're requesting level funding, do they need to come in?
But in their
Check their books.
application, in their application, does it show what Peter's asking you? Does it show how much they have in their coffers and how much they're spending in their application? And you determined that they didn't need to come in?
That would be depending on what we asked them to present to us prior to them coming in.
But they've already done that, you've already made that decision for them not to come in.
No, I
No,
haven't
no.
made any.
Old Home Day, you
You
did.
guys did. John
Only
was
this
here.
last time.
Well, I know, but that's my question is, did you look at their budget before you made the decision to waive it to see if they're spending down the money
We
that
had the
they?
sheet where we could,
Okay.
okay?
They did send in
They
Yeah.
submitted a sheet,
budget.
and so did the concert series.
But I think the question Pat was asking, did you actually publicly review the application from Old Home Day? Review what they asked for before?
Yeah,
you
we
decided
did, but
to-
not the night of the budget committee, we did before we came in.
But you didn't at this meeting?
No. No.
Probably will.
No, we
Should
haven't,
probably
we haven't
should.
reviewed the budget
No.
yet. We're still gonna review
It's
the
not
budget.
been
been
We
approved or
doing that.
disapproved.
But
just-
you've already told them
we just
that
told
But
them
they
they
did not need to come in.
But we still are going to review
Yeah.
the budget.
Right, and what
And if
if
we
you
have
find,
questions, we'll just.
what if you
we'll
find
just-
they have a surplus and you decide
Well,
not to fund them totally, and they've not come in and given you a reason why?
And you've already voted a waiver.
well, we-
That's why I think.
Because they asked for us.
I think we would ask them questions and ask them to
Well,
answer
that's
our
why it's
questions.
better, in my opinion, it's better not to have a blanket, if they ask for level funding, don't come in. I think what Christine Peters suggested is the right way to go. Review their application at your budget committee meeting, publicly discuss it, and then you could have a conversation, entertain a
Okay,
conversation.
of having them not come.
Should they come in, do we need them to come in? And then that would afford all of your budget committee members, new and old, the opportunity to say yes or no.
Mhm.
But you definitely should review
Yeah,
their
well, we-
requested
Yeah.
budget publicly at the meeting, at a meeting, before you even entertain not coming in.
Them not coming in.
So we
That
should
also
add
gives the
those
public
two to
the
the
benefit.
meeting for discussion.
Of your discussion.
Yeah, we're gonna have, we discuss, we vote, we'll discuss, any, all things.
So before you perhaps maybe before you give her an answer, give her a time to come in, perhaps maybe you want to review the budget and see if you have any questions or anything. If you don't have any questions, then you can vote on whether or not she needs to come in. That would be the simple
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Third. Aye.
Aye.
I think the work is made.